I met a gypsy.
The technology that has gone into the safety side is huge for us as NASCAR drivers. And yes, we still hit things really hard, and G-load and things of that sort are intense, right? But when it comes down to the end of it, like when I know that I'm strapping in every week and I'm risking everything I got right now to go and compete, and like after that, you recover and hey, I'm good. Let's go do this again. Like it's what we love to do, and it's the risk that we take.
It's wild, man. Like I think about it all the time from the Supercross aspect because Supercross races, I would say that Supercross races and bull riders are probably the dudes that really have to compartmentalize the pain and the injury side of things, maybe more than any other sport, I would think. I mean, MMA is definitely gnarly. But you'll see like a broken leg a year. Like I can remember 3 times where like a dude's kicked through a dude's leg and broken a leg, and some broken toes and some broken eyesight. Like, so there is some gnarly stuff. But I mean, if you look at the top, like the injury list in Supercross right now, it's
gnarly.
Crazy how many dudes are out, and they'll be fine. As soon as the doctor says go ride, they'll be doing the same thing. And, you look at a guy like Ken Roxon, the injury that he overcame. And, there's just guys that broke their back. And
so Roxon's story. So I remember being a kid, or I guess younger, watching Roxon and seeing all that go down. And like myself thinking like, man, he's not going to race again. Like he's done, right?
Yeah, there's no way.
Like the inspiration that he has put off just from the recovery aspect and where he's at right now, like him winning Daytona was absolutely insane.
Sickest.
Like I'm so pumped for Ken and Courtney and their whole family. Like it's so neat to see him kind of bounce back and be back to where like he belongs. And I feel like getting into Supercross world a little bit, like if he wouldn't have tangled with the lapper in Tampa, like he would probably be leading the points right now.
Yeah, he'd probably have like a 10-point lead.
Yeah. Like he has rode so good this year, and it's so good to see. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to 2017. That was obviously lightning in a bottle. I mean, he looked untouchable. But I mean, if you take that season away, this is the best form of his career, really.
100%.
He's been almost on the podium every single weekend in 2025 as a 31-year-old father of 2.
That's crazy, isn't it? I guess you grow up, right? You learn certain things, but just the flow and kind of feel like what you need and getting your bike tuned in and kind of going through all those steps and having the right people around you to push you is key in this thing.
Think about this. He is winning on a 10-year-old Suzuki and beating factory KTM, factory Honda, factory Yamaha, factory Kawasaki. What other motorsport in the world do you think that that's a possibility?
There isn't one. There isn't one. I mean, you even look at MotoGP and the technology that's in MotoGP now, right? Like it's like F1 racing or NASCAR racing even. Like all the cars are super similar, but there's so many little things that you can do to make it faster. And like even in our sport, like I used to think that driver was like 90% of it, right? And that's gone down significantly now compared to what it was 10 years ago, right? Just with the car and how it handles and things of that sort. Yes, the driver can still make a difference, but like the car is everything. And MotoGP, the bike is everything, right?
Well, look at what Marquez did last year on the satellite Ducati.
Yeah.
So what he just did to everybody on the weekend on a factory Ducati.
Wild. But it's the truth, right? Like you look at Roxon on his Suzuki right now, and he's comfortable on it. He's riding really, really good, but he is definitely pushing that thing to the limit and carrying it, right? Like there's not really another form of motorsports, like you said, where the rider or the driver can make
that much difference.
A big difference. Yes.
Well, and I think it also speaks to, like, so Chase is having shock problems at the moment to where he's saying that the shock's fading through the motos, right? Think about the budget that they have to spend and what they have to use. They've got all the best parts. They've got shock dynos. They've got engineers. They've got dudes on computers that are trying to dial in the suspension, and Ken has Mark Johnson at REP, who he's known forever, and it's just two dudes talking about suspension. I mean, Mark's got all of that stuff as well, but it's like there's a real rider to suspension tech conversation and a dialogue. There's nothing from the factory. There's no guy trying to justify his job. There's no new technology that they're having to implement. If Ken wants to use Showa, if he wants to use K, whatever. There's also, it's wild to see just the being spoiled for choice and being able to use what you want to use and not having all of the layers of complication. Like, he's in such a unique position that essentially it's like a build your own 450. I mean, Justin Hill, same thing. Privateer KTM running Enzo KYB suspension, like just literally whatever he wants. So it is wild that Supercross may have tried too hard. In a way, they've complicated this thing that is so rider focused, you know, like you guys can't do that. It's very data driven. It's wind tunnels, it's aero, it's like there's so much that goes into it, but it's like that is such a crazy raw form of motorsport still.
Yeah, it is, and I love it. Like, that's one of the things I like about Supercross and even motocross, like outdoors, right? Like, being able to see the rider perform at such a high level and carry their equipment at times, like, that's what it's about. Like, it's amazing to see. And honestly, I wish more forms of motorsports were back like that, right? The crazy thing is, in my opinion, with technology and how everything continues to evolve, like, it's getting more and more away from that and more dependent on what's underneath you as far as bike or car than really how you're performing, right? Like, I would say that Supercross is still probably that 80-20 mix as far as rider bike, right? Maybe 90-10. But like in our form, it's probably like 40% driver, 60% car at least, maybe 30-70 as far as where it's at. Like, you can only go as fast as what your car allows and how much grip that you have. And that's car dependent. Like, we can, as drivers and riders, right, or any athlete, we are trained from others, but we also train ourselves to push what is underneath of us to the absolute limit. And if there's nothing there,
the limit's the limit.
The limit is the limit. Like, you aren't going to go any faster than what you have. And continuing to build on that process and continuing to come up with new ideas and trying to push to get that extra little tenth or 0.2 out of it. Like, that's what it's all about now. So as a driver, like, yes, you can still make mistakes. You can still put yourself in bad spots. You can try and push your equipment too hard and step over the line and end up wrecking, right? But like, being able to maximize the potential that you have in your vehicle and being able to get every little ounce out of it without stepping over that line, like, that's where the driver comes in now. Like, you have to be able to figure out where that line is and be right on the edge of that for the whole race. Like, when you show up for the weekend, that's what you got.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.